I used to sing in a place where nobody expected miracles to happen. A dirty open market cracked concrete under my feet, the smell of fried oil, sweat, and dust mixing in the air. People yelling prices like their lives depended on it. I wasn't there to entertain anyone. I was there because if I didn't sing, I felt like I would disappear. That's the part most people don't understand. When you have nothing, no family, no home, no plan for tomorrow, you grab onto the one thing that reminds you you're still alive. For me, that thing was my voice. Every morning before the market fully woke up, I stood near a crooked light pole and sang. Old hoodie, worn-out shoes. Stomach empty more often than not. People walked past me like I was part of the background. Some laughed, some shook their heads. Some said things they probably don't even remember saying now. Go find real work. Music won't feed you. She thinks she's special. Yeah, that happened. A lot. And at first it hurt every single time. Then, after a while, it stopped hurting and started fueling something else. A quiet kind of fire. You know what I mean? I wasn't always alone. I had parents once. A small apartment. Sunday dinners. Laughter. Then, one accident took all of that away. After that, I bounced between relatives who didn't really want me, promises that didn't last, doors that slowly closed. By the time I was 18, I was sleeping wherever I could and carrying my life in a backpack. Singing wasn't a dream. It was survival. It kept the hunger quiet. It kept the memories from getting too loud. There was one vendor in the market, a woman everyone called Auntie Rose. She sold fruit and had the kind of face that looked tired but kind. Sometimes she'd listen, really listen, and say, "Your voice makes this place feel softer." Those words mattered more than money. But for every Auntie Rose, there were 3 people ready to tear you down. A guy selling shoes once shouted, "If talent paid bills, we'd all be rich." His friends laughed. I smiled and kept singing even though my chest felt tight. I learned something early on. If you stop every time someone doubts you, you never get anywhere. The week before Christmas was the worst and the best at the same time. The market was louder, brighter, more chaotic. People buying gifts, kids running around with cheap toys, speakers blasting carols so loud they hurt your ears. I sang Christmas songs because they were familiar, because they reminded me of something warm I couldn't touch anymore. Oh, holy night. Some people slowed down. A kid stared at me like I was magic. Most didn't care, that was fine. I wasn't singing for them. The night before Christmas was cold. I curled up behind closed stalls, hoodie pulled over my head, humming quietly to myself just to stay calm. I thought about my mom clapping when I sang as a kid, about my dad saying, "Your voice carries truth." I didn't know where I'd be the next day. I didn't know anyone was about to hear me in a way that would change everything. Christmas morning came fast. The market was alive, early decorated with cheap ribbons and fake tinsel. I felt heavier that day, like something was pressing on my chest. Still, I took my spot and sang. Same cracked concrete, same noise, same doubts. Then the black cars showed up. 3 SUVs rolled in slow, clean, completely out of place. People stopped what they were doing. Whispers spread. Security. Money. Power. A man stepped out wearing a simple coat, nothing flashy, but everyone moved out of his way. He didn't smile. His eyes looked tired, like someone who'd been awake too long thinking about the past. Later, I'd learn his name was Marcus Hale, a real estate billionaire, one of the richest men in the city. But in that moment, he was just another stranger passing through. Except he stopped. I was mid-song when it happened. I felt it before I saw it, like the air shifted. He froze right there in the middle of the market. His bodyguards almost ran into him. He looked around like he'd heard a ghost, his face drained of color. I kept singing, unaware, eyes-closed voice, shaking just a little from the cold. But for him, everything else went silent. That song wasn't just a song to him. It was memory. 12 years earlier, he'd lost his wife and young daughter in a car accident during a Christmas trip. The daughter was never found. That grief carved something permanent into him, and now here was a voice that sounded just like hers. Same softness, Same way it broke just a little on the high notes. He pushed through the small crowd gathering around me. When I opened my eyes and saw him standing there staring like he'd seen something impossible, I felt scared. People like him don't look at people like me that way. He stepped closer, his voice trembling. "What's your name?" I told him. He swallowed hard, asked about my parents, my past. I answered honestly. There was nothing fancy to hide. Then he said something that made my heart stop. He asked if I would come with him just to talk. I hesitated. My instincts screamed no. Rich men don't pick up homeless girls for good reasons. But something in his voice wasn't cruel. It was broken. Auntie Rose touched my arm and whispered, "Go. This one feels different." So I did. Inside that SUV, everything felt unreal. Soft seats. Quiet. Water offered like it mattered. He told me about his daughter, about how she loved to sing, about how her voice used to fill their house. He didn't accuse me of anything. He didn't promise anything. He just asked if I'd allow a DNA test. If he was wrong, he said he'd still help me get off the streets. That alone would have been enough. Waiting for the results was torture. 2 days felt like 2 years. I stayed in a guest room that didn't feel like it belonged to me. He barely slept. When the call finally came, he drove himself to the hospital, hands shaking so bad he could barely hold the envelope. The results confirmed it. I was his daughter. When he told me, he dropped to his knees in front of me and cried. Not the quiet kind, the kind that comes from years of buried pain. I cried too, not because of the money, not because of the house, because for the first time since I was a kid, I wasn't alone. The story exploded. Media, headlines, Christmas miracle. People who ignored me before suddenly remembered my name. But the real change wasn't outside. It was inside. I started believing that maybe the world hadn't been wrong about me. Maybe it had just been early. Marcus didn't rush me into fame. He wanted me safe first, grounded. But a video from the market went viral. A charity concert reached out. One song they said. I almost said no. Stage fright hit me hard. "What if they laugh?" I asked him. He smiled finally and said, "They won't." On that stage, under bright lights, I sang the same song I sang to survive. The room went silent. People stood. Some cried. I didn't see any of it. I just sang like I always had. Honest. Raw. After that, everything moved fast. Offers, opportunities. But we chose carefully. My voice wasn't for sale. It was a story. Months later, I went back to the market. Same place, same smells, same concrete. I sang again not because I had to, but because I wanted to. Auntie Rose cried. People clapped. And I realized something important. The place that tried to break me didn't win. It built me. So here's my question for you. How many people do we walk past every day judging them by where they stand instead of what they carry inside? How many voices do we silence because they don't look the way we expect success to look? Was I lucky or was I always worthy? That's the real debate. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear them.